up the hill to the cradle of forestry. We got a real nice place here amongst the trees. History, nature, science, what more do you need? Forest inspired nature discovery.
Well, hey there, Stephanie. What you got there?
Hi. I came down to the commissary to investigate some medicines from back in the early 1900s, the time of the Biltmore Forest School.
Well, what's a commissary?
A commissary is like a general store.
Well, I'd say this store generally doesn't have a lot on its shelves.
Back then, they only kept the necessities, like medicine.
Well, what are you learning?
Well, I'm learning that their medicines didn't have all the complicated ingredients our medicines have today. Mainly, it was just plants.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. You know, medicine wasn't really made in a factory until later in the 20th century. For thousands of years, most of the medicine that people used came from plants from the forest.
Do you know anything about medicinal plants?
I do. Can I show you some more?
I would love that.
Let's check it out.
Medicinal herbs are plants that are used for medical purposes. The parts of the plant that can be used to make medicine are the bark, stems, leaves, flowers, roots, and seeds. Warning: never eat any plant that you do not know what it is or without an adult's approval. Now let's head out on the trail and see if we can find some medicinal herbs.
All right, we found a great place along the trail here at the Cradle. And our first plant here is this little baby tree that'll get a lot bigger as it grows, but it's called witch hazel. And the leaves are really, really fuzzy, and so are the branches. And this plant can be useful for treating things like bruises and swelling. You can take the branches and the twigs and make what's called a tincture, and can be applied to those ailments. We also have something that grows all over the Pisgah National Forest, and it's moss. There's so many different kind of cool mosses. You can take a magnifying glass with you, and you can get really close and look at all the little critters that might live in there. But also, if you have a wound or a cut, you could take a chunk of that moss and you could stop the bleeding with the moss. Which, if you don't have things like gauze and Band-Aids, it can be pretty helpful.
If you're like me and like playing in the woods, you've probably run across poison ivy. Poison ivy isn't fun. It's got an oil on it that gets on your skin and causes a really itchy rash. The best way to get rid of poison ivy oil is to use soap. The soap breaks up the oil and then you can wash it away with water. But what if you're in the woods and don't have access to soap? A great alternative is in this plant. It's called jewelweed. If you crush up this plant and then apply it to your poison ivy oils, it acts like the soap. It breaks up the oil and then you can wash it away with water. Great way to solve your poison ivy itch in nature.
One thing that's never fun when you're playing outside is an upset tummy. But thankfully, nature provides remedies for that. And one of those remedies is this beautiful plant right here. It's called mountain mint. It's got fuzzy leaves. It smells so good when you crush the leaves up. And you can take the leaves and you can make a tea and cure that bellyache right up.
Clay, there seems to be so much we can learn in the forest.
There really is. And there are a lot of different tools to help us learn. There are things like field guides that you can put in your backpack while you're on the trail. There are even apps you can put on your phone to take pictures of plants and it'll tell you what you're even looking at.
Or you can come visit us and we can help you find what inspires you at the Cradle of Forestry.